Hey everyone, this is Coach Mark. I hope you guys are doing great. This week in my power and a half hour call, the title of the call was about resilience. And I generally profile two or three different people every single week. And the first group of people that I chose to profile was the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, let me start this off by saying that I am not a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. I'm not necessarily a LeBron James fan after he left my team, the Miami Heat. That's really my team. My second team, I would probably say, is the Golden State Warriors. So I was definitely rooting for the Golden State Warriors, but as we all know, they didn't win. And the reason why I chose to profile the Cleveland Cavaliers is just because, when you talk about resilience and resiliency, other than the fact that, I think the referees cheated a little bit, but, we won't go there. But honestly, um, the Cavaliers really showed a lot of resilience. I mean, there were so many reasons why they shouldn't have won the championship, and they did. And I just want to kind of go over because sometimes we get so caught up in the game, and for me, I personally try to look at everything, anything that I watch, everything that I do. To me, there's a lesson in everything. There's something that can be learned from every single thing, and I definitely learned a lot by watching the Cavaliers, watching that whole NBA Finals series, that those entire 7 games. So I kind of want to go over some of the reasons why I think that the Cavaliers are probably one of the most resilient teams ever in the history of NBA, maybe even in sports. Period. First, first and foremost, they were down 3 games to 1. Now, it has never ever been done before where a team was down 3 games to 1 in an NBA Finals and was able to come back and win the finals. Not to mention the fact that Golden State was, some considered to be the greatest team of all time. They had won more regular season games than any other team. They'd won 73 games. I mean, and that's a crazy feat. 73 out of 82. So you're telling me out of 82 games they won 73 times and lost only 9 times? That is absolutely crazy. And I think the Cavaliers, their record was, I think they had like 57 wins. So they had 16 less. I know that they had 16 less wins than the Golden State Warriors. So even though they were number one in the Eastern Conference, they still had considerably less wins than the Cavaliers. But you know what? We'll even just skip that because when it comes down to the playoffs and finals, it's your regular season doesn't really matter. But that is something to say that Golden State had 73 wins. So not only that, the Golden State Warriors had the Cavaliers down 3 games to 1. So that would mean that the Cavaliers would have to win 3 games in a row. Not to mention the fact that Golden State hadn't lost 3 games in a row this entire season. And the Cavaliers would have to do something that had never been done in that particular season. Not to mention the fact that I mean, there were just so many different factors that prevented, that the average person would have been like, there's no way that the Cavaliers could have won. I mean, if I had to place money on it, I would have definitely bet that, especially with it being 3 games to 1. Actually, I did bet and I lost $50. But, even beyond that, with it 3 games to 1, I mean, I probably would have bet everything that I owned that there was no way that the Cavaliers would even have an opportunity to come back, but they still did. Not only, and the Cavaliers has LeBron James, who is, one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, with Kyrie Irving, who's also another All-Star who is also very good. But I mean, they were going against, definitely the best backcourt, the best set of guards in the NBA, with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So it wasn't like they had a easy walkover. I mean, those guys. I mean, I watched Steph Curry and Klay Thompson play, and to me, those guys were just absolutely amazing. I've never seen. I mean, I can't even tell you the last time that I've seen a duo just so absolutely amazing, absolutely phenomenal, you know? So that's what LeBron James was going against. I mean, down 3 games to 1. You know, he had to win 3 games in a row. It's absolutely crazy. Not to mention the fact of, you know, Cleveland, the supposed curse that was on Cleveland. You know, nobody, and they hadn't won a championships. The Cleveland Cavaliers hadn't won a championship in their 46-year history. The city of Cleveland hadn't won a championship in 52 years. You know, it was like 1964 the last time that they won a championship. Everyone felt that the city had, you know, everyone that's superstitious felt like the city had some sort of hex on them, that you know they just couldn't win no matter what, and it was absolutely amazing. And these guys were still able to come back and win. You know, winning 3 games in a row. And keep in mind now, out of those 3 games were going to be in Oracle Arena, where you know it was a home of the Golden State Warriors, and Cleveland was still able, with a little help from the referees, but we're still able to win that championship, and that's amazing. You know, that's being resilient, and like I said, there's so many lessons in that. You know, it's like, you know, no matter how down you are, you're not out. It's not over until the fat lady sings, so they say, right? And I mean, you know, when you're down, I mean, you know, as a coach, I mean, as a player, like what's going through your mind down 3 games to 1? You know, the only thing that you can even think of or even say is that, you know, you just have to put the focus on winning 1 game at a time, because when you're down 3 games to 1, or just even in life period, and you're down so much, it's easy to say that, you know, yeah, maybe we'll win a game, maybe two, but there's no way that we can win 3 games in a row. And that's just shouldn't even be the focus. The focus should just be what's at hand, winning 1 game. And that's exactly what Cleveland did. They just won 1 game at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 game at a time. And they ultimately ended up winning the championship. So, you know, definitely my hats off to Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, you know, I can't really think of a team that I've seen that showed so much resilience, you know, and it's just, and I didn't even, you know, come up with the title. Actually, I came up with the title before even Game 7. I wasn't even thinking about Cleveland because I thought that they were going to lose Game 7, you know. So when I came up with the title for this week's talk, had nothing to do with Cleveland Cavaliers. It had nothing to do with basketball, but it just so happened that, you know, they ended up winning Game 7, and they really showed the world what resiliency is, you know. And essentially resiliency is just getting back up every single time you fall, you know. You're going to fall in life, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have obstacles, but people that are truly resilient are the ones that are able to get back up regardless of whatever is happening in their life. So, you know, this week, like I said, I wanted to talk about resilience. Cleveland Cavaliers, hats off to you guys. You know, there's a lot for us to learn. Let's just not look at the game and say, okay, it was another basketball game. Let's look at everything